I'm a fourth generation officer. Blood, soul, sweat, everything has been in the army.
You managed to run 160 kilometers in 4 days from Srinagar to Dras.
When you are running marathon, it's okay. You finish at 40 kilometers. But next day, again, this ultra run, you have to start again. So your body cannot go into a shock.
The safety of women in peacetime, it is a problem in our country. What would you say?
Fight is not against man and a woman. When there is an adversity, it does not see your gender. If it is a bullet, it will come and fire at you. I will do everything for this country till my peril. I will die for this country. As a combat role, you have to go across the border and you are caught, then what?
Today we have with us an extraordinary guest whose story is both inspiring and empowering. Joining us is Lt Col Barsha Rai, a trailblazer in the Indian Army Service Corps, where she has served with dedication and resilience for over 14 years. She has taken on challenging roles from leading rescue operations during the Sikkim Earthquake to commanding a Composite Supply Platoon in the high security zone of Tangdhar on the line of control, making history as the first woman officer in this role. In this conversation, we'll be diving into multiple facets of her journey. We'll talk about the evolving role of women in the armed forces, both in combat and non-combat fields, and her experience with leadership, especially as a woman in traditionally male-dominated spaces. We'll also discuss her ultra-marathon journey from Srinagar to Dras, which she undertook on the 25th Kargil Vijay Diwas, and the immense mental and physical training that went into it. Additionally, Lt Col Rai will share her insights on issues like women's safety, essential policy changes needed in the Indian Army, how she dealt with and overcame challenges that came her way. So, if you're interested in stories of courage, leadership and resilience, stay tuned. This episode promises to be inspiring and eye-opening, and we are honored to share this space with Lt Col Barsha Rai. Let's get started. Before we dive into today's conversation, I just wanted to take a quick moment. We looked at our analytics and noticed that 93% of you who watch our videos regularly aren't subscribed yet. If you're enjoying our content and want us to keep going with more insightful conversation, we'd really appreciate if you could take just a second to subscribe. It might seem like a small action, but it goes a long way in helping us grow and bringing even more amazing content your way. Thanks for your support. It means the world to us. Now let's get back to the video.
First of all, I would congratulate you on your services. You retired very recently. Congratulations, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
I would like to start our conversation by asking you about your inspiration to join the armed forces. Being a woman, what was your inspiration to join the armed forces?
So, I'm a fourth generation officer. So, you can say that, and I say it quite repeatedly, that blood, soul, sweat, everything has been in the army. We have lived and breathed army like every day of our lives. So, you have seen it and you have felt it, you have lived it. So my father definitely was an inspiration for us. Him getting up in the morning, going for PT, standing there at the gate, because that used to be his BPT route. So we used to actually stand and like, Papa aayega, Papa daudte hue aayega, and we used to see him and we're like, okay. And then we used to, wave hands at him. And there used to be these, and it's not only him, no. So when you are running a BPT or a test, there are so many Jawans who are running. There are so many officers, JCOs who are running. So, that spirit, that enigma which is there, and it lives within you and it leaves a very big mark on you. Mm-hmm. And 1992, the first batch of women cadets, they got enrolled into OTA Chennai, and in 93 the first batch got commissioned. So we were very young, we didn't know anything. But my father, he got posted to Chennai in 97, 98. Mm-hmm. So he was there as a G2 training. So for us, till then, we also had not seen any women officers and women cadets, and I was in 6th class that time. So we saw that, okay, there are women also in army. So till that time, we were also not aware. We were not also exposed to it. And we reached there, and my father was a G2 training, so you can understand. So he was, taking care of the entire training part and everything. So for us, it was something very new. It was very exciting. And we saw how it was difficult. Of course, you can see the training part and everything. For a woman, it becomes difficult, and especially when it was something very new. It was just 5 years into the motion of being woman. It's coming into the academy and then into army. But it was, again, that also left a mark on us. And because it gives you the possibility to you and to your parents also and to the society that yes, this is also what my girl can do. She can also join as a woman officer in the Indian army. Till that time, that option of joining army was not known to us. So when we saw that, so we used to stand there. So the weak swimmers in academy, they are called for extra swimming classes.
Mhm.
So we, after that, they used to open the swimming pool for then everybody else, the families and the serving people there. So we used to go in the extra swimming period. I used to tell dad, and Chennai is hot and humid. So why? Because we used to go there to interact with the women cadets, and we used to ask them questions. So we didn't know how to address them, but we used to call them Didi. So we used to ask them, "Ki kaisa lag raha hai aapko? How are you feeling? Is it difficult?" And they used to answer, and they were very motivated and they were very energetic, high on energy. So, but we used to do that. We used to go extra hour pehle because to interact with them. So I think these two. The first upbringing and the entire the idea that we are from army, the entire family is from army, and then secondly, then this exposure of women cadets being, and my father being posted there. So I think it's an amalgamation of all this that inspired me and made it possible for me to think that yes, I can be a part of it.
Lovely. What is the entry process for a woman cadet to get in the army?
So there are
or any of the armed forces for that matter?
So there are various entries. So I am a CDS. There's a CDS exam which happens. So you write an entrance exam. So now in CDS also you have a technical and a non-technical. So I'm a CDS non-tech entry because I was a BSc graduate. You have technical also. So people who have done engineering, so they are into the CDS technical batch. So you give an exam, you clear the exam, there's a merit. If you clear it, then you are called for your SSB. Then after your SSB, which is a 5-day process, which includes a lot of screening, in which they have your personal test, psychological examination, group examinations. Post that, then if you clear that and you make the merit out of that SSB exam, then you have a medical examination. After you clear the medical examination, post that, then there is a merit made. That is with respect to CDS Tech and CDS Non-Tech. You have also NCC entry with respect to NCC women cadets who have C certificate holders. So what happens is they don't have to go through any examination. Then they are when they fill the form, there's a process. So then you are directly called for your SSB examinations. Then you have JAG entry, that is for your lawyers. So they can also apply for it. So, but again, every entry that we are talking about, that is your CDS Tech, CDS Non-Tech, and your NCC and your JAG entry, everybody has to go through that SSB process.
Yeah.
And after that, there is a merit which is formed. And for every entry, there is a different number of vacancies and a different merit. So, for example, when we got commissioned, so for CDS Non-Tech, the vacancies was 15 seats. So that was the merit. Now, if somebody is medically boarded out, not boarded out, basically found medically unfit, or maybe somebody does not make it to the cut, or somebody just removes their name, then the people down in the merit, then they are upgraded. So for NCC, I think that year I remember the vacancies were 4, because we had 4 who had joined via NCC. So there are also people who are in NCC and who are also applying for CDS Tech. So depending on what non-tech, so whichever you are taking, so again, that vacancy is created. So the people from below the merit are then upgraded. So that is there. Now recently in 2022, even NDA has been open for girls.
Yeah.
So we have women coming through NDA, the same what male cadets are coming through. So the number is very less, yes, but of course it's a start.
Right. So you straight away before you had joined the OTA, and does the training at the OTA equip you to be a part of the army? How do they equip you?
See, training is enough in the sense that you are physically trained, physically very well trained. Mentally, Very, very well trained. Because that entire process, that rigmarole that you go through makes you mentally and physically ready. There is no doubt about it. And I would not even if somebody says no, no, it's not enough, or it's not so I completely disagree to it. Yes, compared to a person who's going through NDA, who's had 4 years of service, then goes to IMA for 1 year. Of course, that's 5 years. But you also need to understand that the person who's coming at NDA, he's just 10 plus 2. He's a small child. A person who goes to NDA, so he or she would be anywhere above 20 and 21. So they are mature enough. They are ready to accept. They are ready to learn. Vis-a-vis a 10 plus 2 child. So of course, so yes, there is a difference. 5 years, you are being trained and you are being groomed to be an officer. Yes, but the thing is that because I am mature enough, I understand what I have signed up for.
Yeah.
And in my own conscious decision that I want to join army. That you cannot say for everyone who is joining via a military school, via NDA. Most of them, yes, but some may not. But here, it is my decision. I have decided that after graduation, I want to join army. Or maybe somebody has left jobs, somebody have left their MSc, MTech in IIT. People have left MBAs and IIMs. I know people who were about to go to US for the jobs, and they have left and they have joined army via OTA. So technically, mentally, though, you are already ready that I want to be an officer and I want to be a part of the Indian Army. So 50% of the job is done. 50% physically and mentally, they ensure that you get that training done and you are ready for the army.
Right.
Process-wise. Now, once you are in the army, that's a different ballgame altogether. Once you are a commissioned officer, I tell everybody that every day is a learning.
Yes.
And that you are learning every day, whether you are lieutenant or you are lieutenant general. But that realization and acceptance as an officer has to come to you.
Right.
That nobody can give it to you, that nobody can train you for, that you have to train yourself.
What are the different roles that a woman cadet, I didn't mean an officer, a woman cadet gets to as soon as she is done with the OTA? So
once you are commissioned, we have various branches of army, corps, regiments in which we get commissioned into. So in services, we have Army Service Corps, which I was a part of. We have Ordnance Corps. We have EME, Electrical and Mechanical Engineering Corps. You have signals. Then you have engineers. You have JAG branch. That is what I'm saying. That is lawyer. And medical, of course, they have a different commissioning. But then, we have women officers who are in medical. There are women officers who are in intelligence. There are and now there are women officers even in the regiment of artillery, which was not allowed earlier, but now it has been allowed. So these are all the various branches that we are a part of. And everyone is actively participating and doing the job which they are trained to do in the bestest of their capabilities. And if I go on ground with my own experience and with all my counterparts, my seniors, I have seen there is not a job that has been entrusted upon us and we will not do it.
Obviously. These are all non-combat roles.
Yes, in non-combat roles.
So do you think, because you've been inside the system, do you think India is ready for women to be in combat roles?
Women have been in combat roles for a very long time. And it is not only in India. If you look at our world history, they have been there. And, I tell this to people that when there is an adversity even with respect to anything, it may be a war, it may be a natural disaster, calamity, anything, it does not see your gender. If it is a bullet, it will come and fire at you. If it is a bomb, it will come and fire at you. I will also die. You will also die. You are a man. I'm a woman. It does not differentiate in that. So why are we differentiating in our thoughts? For the very fact, every time the idea or concept of a woman coming into combat role is, people get into the administrative and logistics part of it. But why? Because when I'm talking about a war, I will not be looking for a washroom. And that is what happens. I go on so many treks. I don't look around for a washroom or a VIP area, to go and, lighten myself. I will go behind a tree, I'll go behind a rock, I'll go behind a bush. And that is how it is supposed to be. But whenever the question about women coming into combat roles come in, first thing, they get the administrative and logistics ideas. Secondly, they think about the fact that women physically lag behind, like with respect to anything we talk about, maybe about climbing a mountain. But how do you know that when you have not even tried it? Thirdly, they talk about the acceptance of men, the idea, the stereotype which men have, of course, also with respect to the safety and security of women. But I also tell them that I have been at such places where there were just men and me. Men, be it a Jawan, be it a JCO, be it an officer. I was never harmed. I was never looked down upon or looked in a way that a woman should not be looked after. And that is what we have been trained for, right? To respect women. So when you take all these factors, and these are the major factors that you talk about, then why are we talking about it? And why are we not trying about it? And there's a very famous thing also when people say that, if you have to, as a combat role, you have to go across the border and you are caught, then what? So if a man is caught across the border, is he treated nicely? No. He is treated with anyone. He is treated with the same amount of vengeance, same amount of hate, and same amount of torture. And as a woman, I will get the same. And yes, what you are thinking about, and we all know, will happen, may happen. But anyone and everyone who wants to be a part of that combat role will be in the sane and conscious mind. And all these factors will be thought about by that person, right? So keeping all these reasons and ideas and stereotypes into our mind, that is the reason we are not able to get this question of women into combat roles. But leave aside all these things, why not? And are there women right now not in such places where there is only one woman? There are. Are they not doing their duties? They are. And now in this scenario of, this world scenario which we are looking at, the concept about physical man-to-man war, what is the percentage of it and what is the probability of it? In this era of AI which we are talking about, where everything is tracked, everything is geotagged, everything, whatever I say to you right now could be listened by the AI, could be heard by the AI. So in a world where we are, fighting psychological, so the idea is now psychological warfare. The idea is information warfare. So why are we still stuck on this idea of combat role? So that is also a thought we need to put, because I see headlines in the newspapers, women yet to be thought to be inducted in combat roles. So when our media writes a headline like this, so that means we are not trying to mentally make up ourselves. Physically, you just have to train yourself, and everybody trains. But the mental training, what do we do about that? So our media is writing, women yet to be thought to be inducted in combat roles. And in an era of, information and psychological warfare, we are still stuck on that thought. We really need to move ahead of it.
You rightly said that, when you've never tried, how would you know if you haven't tried? Because history suggests that every time there was a crisis, there was always a regiment of women leadership. Such as even on World War II, there was a regiment led by Subhash Chandra Bose of the women military as well.
Yes, there were. And we need to understand that, when we were fighting for freedom, we all have seen those videos, we have seen those pictures. In the front line, the concept was not about men and women. When the lathi was being charged, we had women freedom fighters, we have men freedom fighters. Everybody was standing there, standing in protest. Today, if you look at protests, whichever is even happening in country right now, I can see there are so many women standing there right now. They are not worried about water cannons, lathis, everything. If they have a voice, they stand for it. And they are doing it. So we just need to mentally train ourselves rather than thinking about the logistics, the administrative and the physical limitations. And human body is something that is very beautiful. it has so much resilience, it has so much perseverance, and it has so much determination. You train it and you can achieve wonders. And there are so many examples for it. I think I don't even have to elaborate. The Olympics this year, I think it has smashed all the thoughts and processes which we have with respect to women not being able to do this and do that.
Wow, so that's such a beautiful point you made. To lighten this our conversation, I want to ask you a little about your belief system that helped you to be where you are at the moment, the spiritually or even the mental feats that you do and you continue to would do. How has army trained you to bring you that kind of spirit?
So army, so as I said in my statement earlier, so army has this, you are learning every day. Every day is a new journey. And that is when I said that army ka jo training hai, it trains you physically and mentally. But after that, you are learning every day. Mm-hmm. There is not a dull situation, there is not a dull moment, and there is not a dull day, month, week, event in your life. And Murphy's Law, you must have heard. Mm-hmm. So army is very famous, known for it, Murphy's Law, okay? So when your life is bounded by Murphy's Law, and you speak to any officer, okay, or he will say Murphy's Law hota hi hai. So when your life is bounded by Murphy's Law, that, you have no choice. What has to happen will happen irrespective of what you plan, so that is the thing. And army ka planning and your own personal planning with respect to army is bounded by Murphy's Law. So army teaches you a lot of tolerance. Mm-hmm. It teaches you a lot of the idea of adjustment, the idea of surprise and shock, and how to take that surprise and shock every day in your life. There are numerous instances I can tell you that, but I can write a book about it. And I am sure most of the army officers can write that every day, and slowly and steadily with all this, like I'm a lieutenant. I see a thing in a particular way. I'm young. I don't have experience. I see a thing in a particular way. Now, a major, a lieutenant colonel, a colonel sees that particular thing in a particular way. Yeah. They come and tell you, they show you that this is how you're supposed to do it. You learn. So the idea of realization and acceptance and of learning, that is what army teaches you. That is the best part. Because, and it is not only you're learning from your seniors, you're also learning from your juniors. You have a Jawan, you have a JCOs, and they have the, the best hand-on ground experience. Mm-hmm. And he will tell you ki saab ye aise hona hai. And then you realize, oh, yes, he's right. So the idea of realization of that you are learning every day is the best thing that army teaches you. Except that, yes, the idea of leadership, diligence, determination, perseverance, teamwork, and that tolerance and that shock and surprise factor, which I told you, that anything can happen anytime. Mm-hmm. It does not, I'm not talking with respect to only fighting. Every day, processes that you're doing, every day, that is whatever interactions you're doing, everything is a learning. It's how you take it. So this is what I think. And when I joined the army, my father wrote me an email. I still have that email. He was shocked that I had the email even after so many years. So he said, life is very simple, Barsha. There's a concept of immediate aim. There's a concept of intermediate aim. And there's a concept of distant aim. That is far vision. Divide it accordingly and work on it. And he told me one thing that, there would be some times that you would not understand a particular order. You would, obviously, because of experience also, and lack of experience. Dheere dheere aata hai experience. And there would be something when you would not be ready to do it. Mm-hmm. It would be like, should I do it, should not do it? With respect to work only. He said, but always look at the cause of it, not the why of it. So if the cause is permissible and the cause is good, why, what, who, doesn't matter. It solves half of your problem. And trust me, for my journey in army, it did. Mm-hmm. And my mother ka favorite motto, I remember, jo hota hai, achhe ke liye hota hai. And I think all this and everything is what actually led me through it. And actually has been a beautiful journey and a beautiful journey of learning, being together and moving ahead. And that is why I'm here today. Matlab, very, very happy, very, very satisfied with my service, and bringing along, taking ahead everything that I've learned and all the beautiful relations and bonds that I've made. Because it's a very, very social, army. I mean, the idea that you are socially so well connected, it's a family. So the one person I was there when I got commissioned, I'm still in contact with. My co-mates, I'm still in contact with. My seniors, I'm in contact with. My Jawans, my JSUs, there are people who are there I'm still in contact with. So it's not just the learnings, it's the relationships, the family also that you're taking along.
You very rightly said that army really makes you stronger mentally, because it continuously to put you in a situation of discomfort, and your mind gets used to the discomfort, and it's easy for you to.
Yeah, because you get a call at 3 o'clock in the night for some other reason. I will not tell the reasons, but yes, you do. And you are like, oh, okay, so theek hai. Like you're going on a chutti, and then you have planned a leave and everything. Tickets are done, and some inspection comes up. All right, and there is something that you've already done. There is a program that is already ready, and you are ready. But some other thing comes up, some other operational exigency comes out. So the entire thing that you have got ready for, the unit, your company, it just goes off. You are ready for something, it rains. And you're like, hello, what are you supposed to? And now it's not even a rainy season. So you can imagine how it is.
So it prepares you for all adversities.
Yes, it does. It does.
In
It
any
absolutely
crisis situation. I would want to bring a conversation to the fact that you recently did an amazing feat. In the 25 years of Kargil Vijay Diwas, you managed to run 160 kilometers in 4 days from Srinagar to Dras.
Kargil War Memorial, yes.
To Kargil.
Yes.
I would love to hear your experience, ma'am.
Okay, so this particular journey process, it started last year. And it started last year because Varun was posted there in Kashmir, and what happened was he said that, okay, next year is 25 years of Kargil Vijay Diwas, and there's a lot of, preparation starting a year back, obviously, because you have to, what events you would be doing, you would be proposing ahead, it would be going ahead, and everybody would be looking at it. So we are giving these ideas and everything. Would you be part of, some rally you want to be? Let's be part. And I said, kya rally hai? He said, let's see, there could be a motorcycle rally. I said, no offense to anyone. I said, motorcycle pe to sab jate hain. So, it's not easy, but of course there are too many motorcyclists and everything. So I said, everybody goes on a motorcycle, so let's do something different. So he said, you want to go by cycle? So I said, let's go running. So it was on a call, and I remember he laughed off, and he thought, okay, this is just one of our crazy ideas which he always gets. So we finished it off, and but again, there is something in me that I always, if I think of something, homework though I do at least. So I was like, okay, let's see. Then I started, okay, so 160 kilometers from Srinagar to Kargil. Has somebody done it? Then I saw nobody has done that particular stretch. I wanted to find out more. Then I started I've been running half marathons and marathons, but never ultra marathon, something I had never done. Like this kilometer, anything above 100, I have never even imagined. I have not done anything above 40 also. Except for my training days. So, so I was like, okay. So I started working on the ultra runners. I started seeing videos, talking, and speaking to people. Then I said, it can be done. People do it. I was not ready for it physically. I was like, so let's train. So I started my physical training and everything. I didn't tell anything to Varun. He came on leave for a short duration, and I said, we are doing this. So he said, what? I said, this. When did we discuss this? I said, we discussed it that I want to run from Srinagar to Kargil War Memorial. He said, yes. And I laughed about it. I said, yes, but I have not forgotten about it. And till that time, I was already 3 months into my physical training. I have a friend, he's a very dear friend, Ashish. So he has always been like, so I met him via social media, and I liked the way he films, and, he has a way of narrating stories. So I contacted him with respect to the media part of it. And he has also been, he was like, okay, let's do it. So then I had already curated my media team also, and my husband is like, okay, so, and I said, now I'm telling you. So he said, okay, let's do it. And he has been a constant support. My family, my sister, my mother, my father, my brother-in-law, all of them, my extended family also, they were like, not even one of them said that you cannot do it. They were like, okay, very good, all the best. You might doubt yourself, but your family, if they support you, your dreams, your ideas, then it becomes like, then you are unstoppable. Then come rain, hail, or snow, nothing will bother you. And that is what happened. And I was lucky. I had the blessings of my family, my friends, my loved ones. And it happened. We completed 160 kilometers in a period of 4 days.
That means running a marathon every day for 4 days.
So first day we did 42 kilometers, for one marathon. Then next day we did 46. So first day we halted at Wusan, 42 kilometers. Next day we halted at Sonamarg, 46. Third day we did 44 odd kilometers. We stopped at Matayan. There's a small village before Dras. And last day we had 27 kilometers to do. From Matayan we went to Kargil War Memorial. Last day was pretty easy.
Were you running alone or did you have a team?
Yes. My father joined me. He could not run, of course, but he was there, for being there in spirit with me. And we had a cross-country team. So 15 core was there. So 15 core, actually, they asked me that if the marathon team, they had a marathon team. So if they could also train and they could run, and they did too. And the entire event, with respect to the flag off and the flag in, they all they manage that administrative and logistic requirements, and I'm blessed that they did all to support me, and it could not have been possible without them, because there is a lot of July is very busy. There is Amarnath Yatra which is going on, so so there's a lot of checkpoints. There is close in time, close off time, they close the roads, JNK police is active, CRPF is active. So now, you have a bunch of people running on road. So they would also be like, what is happening? So everything was informed, every tie-up was done, the entire coordination was done by 15 core team. And I am really grateful for them that, I said that I'm doing this, and I need your blessings. And my point of blessings was that, with respect to, provide us some guest rooms and all that and all. But they went way beyond everything. And I'm really, really grateful for them. So
talk to me about the recovery from day to day. Like after running 42 kilometers, your body is very weak and you get tired. How do you recover to run again the next day?
So the thing is, first of all, you need to first is training your body. So your body is trained. You have to train your body. There is no doubt about it. So when I started my training, so of course I was not aware of anything. So I started reading about it. I started watching videos and everything and all. So the idea is to you condition your body, you strengthen your body. So first of all, you strengthen your body. Then after starting with a little bit of strengthening your body, you start working on the dynamics, the force dynamics with respect to running. When you work with respect to force dynamics of your running, you realize what all parts, of course, the whole body is running, but the entire, there is a support system with respect to, like supposedly if I do squat, then which particular muscle or which particular, part of my body would be engaged. So when I'm running, there is a particular mechanics and a dynamics that I have to study about. It's a science. It's actually a science, and I was not aware of it. Marathon 40 kilometers still doable. When you are doing 100 kilometers and you're doing marathon every day. So then I read about it, and first of all, I trained my body for it, physically and mentally also. Secondly, when you are doing this, when you are running, so when you are running 40 kilometers also, it's not easy. So you have to, the entire process of rehydration is very important. So we carried a lot of food, and we had a lot of drinks with respect to rehydration. So you stop, you refuel your body, and you re-energize your body, and you keep on running. So that is very important, because your muscle and your body cannot go into a shock. Because when you are running a marathon, it's okay, you finish at 40 kilometers, but next day again, this ultra run, you have to start again. So your body cannot go into a shock that, okay, ye kya ho gaya mere saath type. So your body has to understand that, yes, there is something rigorous going on, but yes, I'm getting food, so I'm okay. So that is first part. Then after that, once you finish, the idea is to cool your body off nicely. And what we used to do is the entire team, me, my husband also ran the entire 160, though he was not trained. Okay, so this is matlab फौजी का मतलब दृढ़ निश्चय जो होता है. So he did, and the entire team. So the concept about the cold treatment, ice treatment, which you are aware of. So ice तो आपको मिलेगा नहीं field conditions में. So what we used to do is everywhere there is water bed. So after every run, we used to plunge ourselves into the ice cold waters. And what happens is your muscles, they all contract, and there is a lot of you can say there's a lot of inflammation. What happens is this particular ice treatment, it opens up everything. Whatever constriction is happening, that is taken care of. Your blood vessels and everything, your blood starts flowing. So first of all, that used to be there. Second, of course, massages. You have to massage yourself, or your partner does it, stretches. So this is the only thing you can do. There is nothing else you can do. And of course, then you eat a good dinner, early dinner, so that you are ready, because we used to get up at 2-3, again eat, because you're supposed to eat good before you start a run. Eat, clear everything, and after you clear everything, by 4:30 we are ready to move off. So this is the only thing which you can do, nothing else.
No other recovery methods.
No, I think that time even doing this much also was like, because you are tired, there is elevation gain, there is traffic, and the mountain sun. July is pretty harsh, okay, with respect to, and you are getting burnt, you are getting dehydrated. So at that particular point of time, even this was like, Hare Bhagwan, abhi now we have to go into the water, we have to come back, change, then we have to massage ourselves, then we have to eat also, then we have to refuel. You keep on drinking a lot of electrolytes, you have to eat a particular amount of carbohydrates. So counting that, doing that, and after, I think by the third day, it was like, have this, and I was like, I cannot eat any more of this. But then you have to. So right now for you, it must be like, you must be thinking, this is very less. But at that time, that was also like a huge thing for us. So, but these are the only activities that you can do, nothing else. And sleep, whatever time you get.
Wow. It's one thing to train your body physically, but another thing to train yourself mentally, because that's where your body tells you, what are you doing? Stop doing that. Your mind start playing games with you.
It does. Are you into running?
I do run as well.
So, when you start running and you start running long distances, and I tell this to everyone, after 20-25 kilometers, it is all a mind game, because your legs will give up. You might be the greatest of runner, but your body will tell you कि नहीं होगा, बस हो गया करके. But what will happen is your mind. Of course, you are physically trained, you are very nice, and physically agile, and muscles are all strong and everything. But there comes a point. Now for everyone that is different. For someone it is 21, someone it is 25, someone it is 40, someone it is 50. But for everyone there is a threshold. And after that your body says bas ho gaya. But it is only your mind that will be like, no, let's 1 kilometer more, 2 kilometer more. So in long distance running, that is it, your mind, as you said.
Wow. Hats off to such a performance and the feat that you achieved. I want to switch this conversation back to your career. And I would love to hear from you any memorable moment from your career, all the different leadership roles that you had held. Any memorable moment from there?
There are many. I mean, it would actually be criminal to actually, say ki one or two of them. But okay, because I think my CEOs will actually kill me if they hear this. So, but yes, two memorable moments. Okay, I'll focus on two, because I think those two were something. I mean, it's criminal, but then yes, let's see. So okay, so two. Let's start with two. If in case I remember something, I'll let you know. So I was in my first unit. I was posted in East, and my CEO was there. He's retired now, Colonel S.K. Singh. And these two stories, there's a common factor also, I'll tell you. So Colonel S.K. Singh was there, and sir is now retired, and he is from Jharkhand, Ranchi. and he's right now a part of BJP and very, very active with respect to social reforms. So I was there, and I was his adjutant. So one day he came, we were just talking and everything. And this is how your lead, the sign of a good leader. They can get work out of you when they have to. Then he said, so all of a sudden we were in a party or somewhere, and then he said ki, "Acha Varsha suno," and I'll say this in Hindi if you don't mind. So, "Acha Varsha suno, हमने सुना है तुम बहुत अच्छा दौड़ती हो." So I was like, "Sir, I come for PT," and you're young, you're like what, 22, 23. I said, "Yes, sir, I come for." So I didn't know if he was like being serious or being worth. I said, "Yes, sir, I come for PT every day. I go for 5 kilometer run." Man, sir, I come in excellent in BPT. Like a nice chota soldier. You are like, "I come in BPT, excellent in BPT." हाँ, हमने सुना है तो, and he was like, तो तुम्हें दौड़ना अच्छा लगता है? So I was like, क्योंकि अब हाँ sir, you don't know what to say because such questions are. You are like, okay, it should be a yes or no, you don't know. And if the senior is testing you, so I said, yes, sir, I like running and everything. Okay, okay. After one day, he calls me into the office and he says, so I'm from ASC, so there was a inter-ASC cross-country competition. So cross-country is 12 kilometers. And now there is a team is of 12 men, okay, and you need to have one officer. Now it could be a JCO, a junior commissioned officer, or an officer. I was like, okay. So now JCO koi tha hi nahi, somebody so fit or something. So he was like, will you run? It's like 12 kilometers. Okay, we'll do it, no issues. But that is with men. And everybody, all the field teams that were being fielded by all ASC units were men. So I was like, sir, तो he was like, क्या हुआ? तुम्हें नहीं लगता तुम कर सकती हो? अब now when somebody says something like this, you are like, no. Like, अरे तुम तो इतना कितने लोगों को पीछे छोड़ देती हो? You leave so many men behind in PT also. Start training. I started training. And it was a different experience altogether. And I did when that inter-ASC team happened, I did leave behind many people. There was my Brig AC, now General Sandeep Mahajan, then Brigadier Sandeep Mahajan. He didn't know that I was running because my CO also, he's very, he could manage things a lot. Then he divulged to the Brig AC that day ki an officer is running, that too a woman officer. And I'm talking good about 13 years back. I was like, okay, then we ran. Khatam ho gaya wo running. After that, there was a core cross country. Now, generally what happens is when you have such core cross country and everything, so you have the team leader could be a JC or a oblique officer. Now, luck be it. See, Murphy's Law that we talk about. And I was going on leave that time, okay, what I was talking to you about. So, core cross country. Now, because all the ASC teams that had fielded, they had a JCO. They didn't have an officer. That year, core said that the team will be led by an officer. No JCO. So then Brig AC called. CO said, ki dekho, you were the only officer. So now you have to run. I said, okay. Now you understand, now in a core, there are about 12, 13 minor, major units, 15, depending on whatever is your strength, whichever area that core is in. So I was like, sir, here it was AST. It was our own, it's like our family. Now that is a bigger core and, you have infantry units. And you have infantry officers. And I was like, no, I cannot do it. He's like, no, you have to do it. And then we started practicing again. And we ran. Of course, I had my doubts. You have your doubts. You self-doubt yourself. And in a way, it is good also because it is a way of introspection also. But we started practicing. One of my very, very good friend who was from different unit was also practicing. So there were officers, male officers. There was only me. There were, I think, that day there were about 60 odd men, officers, JCOs, Jawans included, and I was there. I still have that picture. So it's a lineup, and I'm the only one who's standing there. And that time I was just like about 50 kgs or so. Right now, I think 12 kgs lesser. So I still have that picture. I look at it and I remind myself, and we started running, and slowly, you pick up the pace and you start running. And the fact that I was running, leading my men only was so. My commanding officer was elated. For him, nothing else mattered. You win, you lose, nothing else matters. You followed my orders. You took my team into you did the inter ASC, and after that, what you did was you took the core. You took the team to core also, core cross country also. There were no other male officers. None of the ASC units fielded. So for him, that was a moment of pride, and the pride and joy which he was feeling was actually, it was actually reflecting and imbibing on me too. And slowly and steadily, I was like, yes, I can do it. And that day, out of 12 teams, we came 7th. So I was like, good. I mean, we have this idea of कि first आना नहीं, हम 7th आके भी बहुत खुश थे क्योंकि out of 12 we came 7th. And AC is a services, infantry people are very, very good. And out of the 6 who were there were actually infantry units and armored units who are like the best. And there were many men who were behind me. There were 3 officers also who were behind me, male officers. So I was like, and everybody was like, देखो हमारी लड़की officer 3 male officer को पीछे छोड़ दी. So it's not about the competition between male and man, but the idea is that what you want to do, gender does not matter.
True, very true.
So that is there. Second, again,
before you go to second, is this where your passion for running started as well?
Yes, I think so. Yes. I tell him this always. I always message him also. And when I was going for this run also, and he came to know that I'm doing this run, and I messaged him, sir, this thing which I'm doing today actually started when I started running, when you asked me to run for cross country. And he laughed. He said, okay.
So wow, this was so serendipitous that an initiation to something becomes so much deep into you,
which you had not thought. Yes. Somebody else thought for you. So so that is what I say. जो होता है अच्छे के लिए होता है.
That's your mom says. That's what
mom says. Now I want to carry that flame ahead.
True.
Second is again Kal SK Singh. Mm-hmm. He was in my second unit. He was my I think 4th CO by that time. So he was my so I was there, and there's a compo platoon somewhere around LOC, just 15 kilometers, and it is a part of one of the units. So we have different. I'm from Army Service Corps, so logistics, supply chain management is our forte, and an officer had to be there. And that place is like 15 kilometers away from the LOC, and it is snow cut off, and it has its challenges, of course. And the location where the compo, it's a little away from the brigade, the headquarters, what is there. So it is in a dense land forest. So whatever the platoon also which we have, it's actually in a forested area, which is frequented by bears and, leopards and everything. So he was, he had to send an officer there, because the officer who was supposed to be there, he had to come down for some contracts. And for that, after that, he had to go for, staff college examination that we talk about. So he said, commander said, you have to send a reliever, another officer. And I was not even aware that I was being thought about, because I was just 2.5 years into service, and the supply chain management, I was still learning about it. And he said, you will go. I was like, okay. So that was another shock for me. And he called me into office. He was like, are you ready to go? I was like, sir, you have told me to go. I will go. He was like, I believe in you. You have to believe in yourself. He told me this. And he told me very, very clearly that when I called up the commander, he said, why are you sending a woman officer? And I told him, sir, मैं आपके पास एक officer भेज रहा हूँ. You put a man or a woman ahead of it, that is up to you. Mm-hmm. And he said, you go, you make yourself proud, you make us proud. And I went there, and I was the first woman officer in all these years to be the compo platoon commander there. First woman officer, and the laborers and everybody. And they wanted me to keep in headquarters. They didn't want me to stay there, because it's a platoon. So we had 10-12 boys. We had good about 10-12 boys with us, and we had laborers who used to come in, civilian laborers, of course, civilian industrial laborers hired by Government of India. So, and then, we do the advanced winter stocking. So there are a number of trucks that is coming in every day, again, civilian, drivers and everybody and all. Contractors who used to come with respect to the supplies that we used to carry on. And so the commander called me and he asked me, and I said one thing. Manika, sir, if anything happens there, I am the commander there. I am, even if a platoon, I am the commander there, and I am responsible for it. Anything that happens there, with respect to the stores that I have, the resources I have, the manpower I have, anything, if anything happens, I am responsible for it. And I would not be able to live with the fact that because I am a woman and you want me to be in headquarters because you think I'm not safe. And if I am not safe with my own men, then where will I be safe? What you are talking is stay in headquarters. Here also men are there. There also men are there. What's the difference? I will not be able to live with the guilt or the idea that something happened because I was concerned about my safety. And the fact that when I got commissioned, I took the oath that anything happens, I will die for this country. I will not look for my welfare. It's like, till I will do everything for this country till my peril. That is that our commissioning oath says, right? So these two incidents is, I think, something that really shaped me as a human and as an individual, as an officer, for the fact that at such a young service, I was given so much power and confidence, and that only somebody can do who also believe in themselves. The leaders, as a leader, if you don't believe in yourself, you will never be able to instill that belief in your juniors also. So I can definitely say, in the forming, like as a kid also, when you are learning, the formative years that we talk about, they're very important. So there are many instances, but these two incidents, I think, in my formative years of the first 2-3 years of my service, is something that I'll always cherish and I'll always be grateful for, to both my commanding officers. And the common fact, both are Colonel S.K. Singh.
Hats off to Colonel S.K. Singh as well. We need more leaders like him who, promotes equity in terms of managing the subordinates. Ma'am, you also spoke about a very crucial subject, the safety of women in today's time. And we know it is a problem in our country. If there was a message you would want to give to the men of our nation, especially the children, because that's where the conditioning starts as well, what would you say to them, ma'am?
Okay, so again, now this is a topic that has been really close to me. I have spoken about it a lot, and I have also dealt with it a lot. So, starting from my personal experience, of course, everybody talks about their own personal experience, and it is required also, because how do you make people relate to something? It is with your own personal experiences. So for me, I belong to Darjeeling, of course, and I have Oriental looks. I am on the fairer side. So in India, when you look a certain way and you have a certain color to it, you are subjected to so much everywhere, be it school, be it on the roads, be it on the anywhere and everywhere. And it is ugly to another level. Because for you, it is just a passing glance or a passing remark or a statement. But for a girl who hears it every second, at every second turn, after every second step, imagine the constant rigmarole that is going inside her head. Very, very important. Like what we talk about mental conditioning that we do in army, you are taught to be a leader and you get that, vibe in you that you are a leader. Now imagine that mental conditioning you are getting as a girl, as a woman, in your younger age with respect to this passing glances and remarks and the touches. So how does it leave you? It leaves you scarred to a level that we can't even talk about, we can't even share, we can't experience. As a man, you can't experience. As a woman, we are experiencing. Because if in case I have a fracture, what pain I am in, I can only understand. Till time you don't get a fracture, you will never be able to understand how a fracture hurts. True. And that is what I tell a man. That, see, the fight is not against man and a woman. The fight is that as a man and a woman, we both have to work together towards it. The mental conditioning of a man and a woman both has to change. in our society. And I think for that matter, in every society, even if you look at Western worlds, in Western countries, there have been numerous cases these days that women runners who go out early in the morning and they have been kidnapped, and later on, after a few days, you hear the bad news of what happens. So the mental conditioning, the concept of equity which you're talking about, has to be there from the day the child is born. And every day that conditioning has to happen. We are not ready to accept that, first of all. The idea of, why do we use this term ki, okay, if a girl is born, घर में लक्ष्मी आई है. We never say जब लड़का पैदा होता है कि घर में नारायण आया है. We never say that, right? So why this? Is it like a consoling yourself? अरे देखो घर में लक्ष्मी आई है. A boy is born, so you never say that ना नारायण आए हैं या महादेव आए हैं. But when a girl is born, you always say लक्ष्मी आई है घर में. Why? Have we questioned that? We have not questioned it, because it is a way of consoling yourself. A statement like कि कोई बात नहीं बेटा, try next time you'll have a boy. Who is saying? The woman is saying. To whom she is saying? She is saying to another woman. So when I say that mental conditioning with respect to a man and a woman, both has to change. A man has to change. Recently I said in a video, I made a video about it. We were talking about experiences in school. We used to climb stairs. We used to be in skirts. We used to hold our skirts and then climb. Why? Because there used to be some boys who used to be sitting because they just needed a glance. We didn't, I don't know, we didn't have the intelligence also, and the sense also, and maybe the courage also, to say something to them. But the people who could have said to them, the teachers, nothing. Just shoo, go away. Why are you sitting here? Don't act like wild boys. A casual statement like, if I'm wearing a shorts or something, and a casual statement like, अरे देखो कितने गोरे से पैर हैं. Why? And I am talking about statements like which I have faced myself. There was a time I stopped wearing whites because there was a guy who used to say this to me, when I used to wear white. Okay, and nothing is visible, okay, under a white t-shirt or something. Everything is covered. आज बारिश हो जाएगा तो कुछ देखने को मिलेगा. And I used to fight with that guy, okay? And the other girls, including in my school, they used to say, "Arey yaar, please, that he's just joking." These are girls who are saying minded. Forget about boys. So my point is to all the men out there, I don't know. Some men may be having sisters, some may not be having sisters, but every boy has a mother at least. So you have a woman in your life. So when people say ki, he doesn't know because he does not have a sister. Sorry, he has a mother. So the fact that he's not seeing his mother, does he not respect his mother? And if he doesn't respect his mother also, then there's something very going wrong with his head. Then he needs to be a mental institution. It is as simple as that. So how you want your mother to be respected, how you want your sister to be respected, how you want, maybe you have a female best friend, you want to respect her, you want to save her, you want to protect her. That is how you should look at every woman. Nothing less, nothing more. We are not asking you to, raise your swords for us or go fight for us or hit somebody. Minimum respect that we are asking. Minimum equality with respect to that. I walk on street and I don't feel that, I don't feel scared. And honestly, I feel scared. I still feel scared. There's no doubt about it. I sit in an Uber and I cannot sleep in an Uber. For the fact that it is still there. I mean, everything is, automated and it's geo-mapped. Everything is there. I still don't feel safe. And Uber ka map bhi chal raha hai. I will also open Google Maps and I will also see, if I am going the same way. And I'm 38 years old, independent, working. And still, if I feel that, imagine the girl and there are so many numerous girls and women who are working out. They're working out late also because everybody has to work. Everybody has to get out some point or the other, irrespective you're in a city or you're in a village. You're working, you're not working. And in recent times, what we are hearing and everything, after home, the workplace is where the woman should feel the safest. And now that also has been violated. So where do we go? Neither home, neither streets, and neither the workplace. So we really need to understand this, because if we look at the recent event, and if we look at the Defense Council which is there, and the Defense Party which is the part which is it might sound a little political, but there are 14 women in that 21 lawyer council which is there. There are 14 women. So what are we fighting for? That we need to be very clear of. And the mental conditioning of men and women both have to change. And it starts at home, it starts at the grassroots levels.
Right. Thank you for sharing your experience, ma'am. Even though it's difficult, I can only apologize from behalf of all the men, and because I'm the part of the system as well. And there must be change from a very young mindset level, because that's where we start thinking and believing things that we know. We live in a country of such a strong spiritual values. You spoke about Shiv, but Shiv is not complete without Shakti. So we should realize that the kind of nation we live in is so deeply engraved that both masculine and feminine are always hand in hand and has to be in synergy.
That is there in the entire universe. I mean, if somebody who knows French, so I studied French in my college as my second language. So when we were learning it, so in French, every word, it has either le or la. So now the le and la, when we learned about it, so our teacher said one thing: everything in French is either feminine or masculine. It cannot be asexual. Everything either has to have a feminine or a masculine, le or la. So le is masculine, la is feminine. So even the language also takes that, no? So why are we not able to accept it and understand it? It's just a small example. So the entire universe is based on both the energies, male and female. One cannot happen without it.
I hope our conversation is able to instill change in even one person. That'd be good. But we need to collectively make change and improve our belief system. From this, I would like to switch our conversation to your advice that you would give to your younger self as an army officer, ma'am.
Okay.
An aspiring army officer, being a cadet, what would you tell them, that if there was one piece of advice you could give to them, what would that be?
Don't overthink. And don't overthink, because, when you are young, you have a lot of energy. Physical, mental, spiritual, of course, that is one person's own journey that I would not comment on. But mentally and physically, you have so much energy. Now, what happens is you are trained as a leader, to be a leader. But also, we need to understand that you cannot work in isolation. So you will have someone below you, you will have someone above you. So there would be times that you would not understand what is happening. Clear it out, talk it out, don't overthink. That is the worst thing that you can do to yourself. And I would be wrong, or I would be dishonest to myself if I say that I did not do it. I did it. Everybody did it. Everybody does it. Now, if you want to accept it, good. Don't want to, up to you. But yes, I accept it today in my life that yes, I could have, not thought about that, not did that. And everything that, all this process that happens is a result of your overthinking. That is not only with respect to professional, that is with respect to personal life also. So my biggest advice to everybody, especially the junior officers, as a young officer to myself of that time, is don't overthink. Don't overstretch yourself. You are doing good. Mm-hmm. Believe in what you are doing. And at the end, everything will turn out good. And it does.
Yes.
You do not understand that point of what your mother said, like, jo hota achhe ke liye hota. But now when you look at it, you stand by that thought. Mm-hmm. So to my younger self, I'll just say that. Be proud of yourself. You have done good, and don't overthink. So yes.
Lovely, ma'am. Ma'am, since we spoke about a lot of the women leadership in today's time in the armed forces, I would give you the power to be the army chief for this question. And if you were to change one policy in the Indian armed forces, what would that be?
Oh my God, I'm not answering that. Am I supposed to answer that? I have not thought about it.
It's just a question that if there was one policy that you could change in the Indian Armed Forces? Could be towards women, could be not. What would that be?
Okay, so it would not be a change. It would be basically about a synergy, amalgamation. So I'm from services, I'm from Army Service Corps. So we, again, as I said, our forte is logistics, supply chain management. So you know what? Of course, quotes are there. Military leaders have spoken about the importance of logistics in warfare. And if you look at our history, it's pretty evident that without a strong logistical support and a reinforcement plan in place, you lose. And that could be with respect to anything, even in today's world, okay, where we are talking about AI, we are talking about psychological information warfare everywhere. For example, if I say about information warfare, if as a nation, as matlab, you can say, like, if I am your adversary, in today's world, I just need to switch off your internet for 24 hours and you have no way to back it up. And the entire nation goes into a frenzy. Here also, your logistics has to come into play. Your supply chain management will come to play even in a state like this. Because at the end, the basic is food and water. But have you thought about if the nation goes into such a frenzy for 24 hours? Have you thought about it? Because people will think that it is a mayhem, it is a catastrophe, and people will go haywire. There will be looting. There will be so many things. In that condition, how are you going to keep your nation motivated and provide them with the basic necessities like food and water? So, yes, in today's scenario, warfare is different, but basic things like food and water and clothing is most important. So, my only thing as an army, if in case I would have become an army chief, so like Nayak in Anil Kapoor, in movie Ek Din Ka Chief Minister. So my only thing is that, infantry soldiers, officers, or whoever, JSUs, they need to have a very, very in-depth understanding of how this works and how it works. Nothing against anybody. We have great leaders, but we also need to understand that there are sometimes few things that we miss amidst all the operational readiness and exigencies we talk about. Few things are missed, and it is one of the most important things. So how we do it, maybe we train them into this, make them spend some time in this core, or you make it inclusive. I have not thought about it how, but this is an idea that I want to, I want it to, like, it should be there.
To be prepared
to have a deeper understanding and knowledge and acceptance of, we cannot win a war without focusing on logistics.
Yes.
And somehow, with my experience, which I feel, nothing against anybody, no offense to anyone, but yes, there is a little lack and vision with respect to it. It is out of my own understanding and experience that I'm talking about. People may have different views, and all respect to their views, but this is what I feel, that deeper understanding and insight into the logistics part of it, we are doing very well with respect to everything. We are doing very well with respect to logistics also. Everything is working because there is a core to look after it. But as a consumer, what knowledge and what understanding you have of it, that needs to strengthen. So I would work on that.
Lovely. Such a wise thought that was, to prepare for the armed forces for adversities. I would end our conversation with last question to you, which would be, because we are Diary of a Publisher, I make sure to ask the guest one question, that is, what is one book that you wish you would have read earlier in life?
Bhagavad Gita. No doubt about it. I wish I would have read it earlier. I did read excerpts of it. I have read versions of it, and I have read, you can say, people who have written books and derivations out of it. But I didn't read the Bhagavad Gita before my 30 years. I think 34 or 35. Then I started reading it, and yes, I know the versions of it. I know excerpts. I know derivations. But yes, so one book that I could have read earlier, and I not advise. Advise is a strong term, but I recommend everybody to read is Bhagavad Gita.
Wow, I get this answer a lot. Every time I ask a guest about any book that they wish, they a lot of answers I get is Bhagavad Gita. So that shows the power of the Gita and how it could transform one's life.
It does.
There's a new tradition at DOAP, ma'am, that you have to leave a question for the next guest. Is there any question that you want to leave for my next guest?
Again, I don't know who is your next guest.
That's exactly the point. So it could be anything. From life to the armed forces to diplomacy to life.
It is with respect to life. Okay, so, and this is because again, when you read, and especially when you read scriptures like Bhagavad Gita and everything, it provides you with, makes you look into the concept of entirety. And I look around. Of course, social media is a boon in its for good things, and everything has its pros and cons. I look around, and as a nation that I see ourselves and everything, and especially the younger generation that I'm talking about, it is a very threatening fact. If you look at it as threatening, we are slowly moving away from the idea of study and skill set. We are now focused on the ideas of temporary happiness, temporary successes, accomplishments, or the false sense of accomplishment and successes in case of today's social media trends that we talk about. Everybody is focusing right now on the immediate, instant, like instant coffee, instant noodles. Everybody wants everything very instant. For that, they are working on various things. I would not name it. It would be wrong to term it but in all that, what they are coming out of focus is their, first of all, relations. Second of all, studies. Third, even if not study, I'm not saying that you need to have like a degree, 2 degrees, 3 degrees, 4 degrees. Skill set. So as a nation, how we are going to prepare ourselves in the coming next 10 years when we realize that the younger generation, that we are we are the country with one of the most youngest population. But if you look at the statistics of it, we would soon be a country with a younger generation, but with no significant education value and no significant skill set. So how are we going to move ahead of it? And what have we thought about it?
Such a relevant question. I'm going to rephrase it. You're basically asking that in a times of technology advancement where there's a quick fix to everything, how should we improve our skill set in order to be more sustainable?
Because at the end, people say that education doesn't matter, but it does matter. Mm-hmm. It does. I mean, if it couldn't have mattered, the education system would be out of place, but it's still there, right? So then how do we move ahead of it?
Very true. Thank you so much for that question. Ma'am, this has been a very inspiring conversation for me. Learned so much from you. Getting inspired to run now again. I've been in not best shape of my life, but
you're so fit.
Gonna get back to the proper fitness. Thanks to you again. It's been very inspiring for me. I'm sure it's been for the audience as well. Thank you so much for your time.
So much for giving that opportunity, and really, really grateful.
Thank you for your kind words, ma'am. Thank you so much for spending the time.
We at TOAP are working really hard to take this podcast to the next level. Our guests are going to get even better. Our production quality is going to get even better. And hopefully, I'm going to get even better too. Most importantly, we are committed to being consistent and continue to do what we love the most. Until then, keep reimagining yourself and know that the power of change lies within you. Jai Hind.